Warning, the Shuckle Up Podcast is a podcast created by two ex-degenerates that think they know sports gambling and spent their younger days breaking bookies and never hedging. We are not experts on anything, and everything we say should be taken with a grain of salt. We do not condone illegal sports gambling, and all gambling should be done responsibly. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Shuckle Up Podcast, where we try to help you navigate the eternal abyss of the always stressful, mostly toxic, but very entertaining world of sports and sports gambling. I'm one of the hosts for this evening, Anthony, and from the Made on Ridgeway Sports podcast, we have Hunter Keister.
Let's go. Another week in sports. Let's get into it.
And we got the Risley Bear.
Hey, what a great weekend it was.
It was a great weekend.
It was a great weekend.
It was, unless you're Georgia.
Well,
Ouch.
Because you spent all that time getting beat, and then finally you stand up to daddy, and then you go...
Stepdaddy beat you.
Yeah.
Stepdaddy finds a way to beat you, too.
Yeah, you finally stand up to daddy, come back. You're even in the lead a little bit. Weren't they in the lead for a little bit?
they were.
Yeah.
Very end of the game.
Yeah. And then you go and you drop the egg, and you break
And then...
it.
Just in the fashion that they do, it's like you give up the bomb touchdown, and then one of the nastiest spin moves to collide both the Georgia defenders together to allow him to score that big touchdown.
By a child.
Insane.
By a child.
17 years old. 17 years old. And he's one of the best in the country right now at 17 years old. I think it's insane.
Yeah. I said, Eric, did you watch any of that game? Because we were at the casino.
I know. I missed it. I'm sorry. I wasn't able to be there. I did catch some of that. I did catch the very end of it.
That was a good part. That was
well.
that was
I went.
part of the game.
I looked down at my phone at one point. We were not in the house, and I looked down, and it was 21-0 Alabama, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess this wasn't the game we all thought it was going to be. And then, I go back on my phone about hour and a half later, and so it's a little bit closer than it was, and then get a little bit closer, and then finally I turn it on, and I just don't know what to take from this game, though.
Carson Beck is overrated.
Well, but what else? I mean, like,
Georgia really misses those defenders that they've been losing in the draft.
Yeah, 1,000 yards.
That defense is a big thing for me. Just how bad. I mean, you can't really expect them to keep it and keep the ball rolling after 4 or 5 amazing stout defenses, but like Tony said, they're finally feeling the effects of all those guys year after year. Just boom, 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 boom. NFL.
1,000 yards. 1,000 yards in total offense between both games on Saturday night. What does that? Are their offenses really that good? Or what does that say about their defenses?
I would just
How
say
about the SEC defense?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what?
I mean that, and they're not allowed to. I mean, in football, you're not allowed to play defense anymore either. So, I mean, call me an old head.
At Minka Fitzpatrick.
I mean, I'll give Alabama credit. They held Georgia to 80 rushing yards. I mean, the difference in the game was definitely Beck's 3 interceptions. That didn't help Georgia out at all. But I'm just 173 yards rushing for Alabama. And 1,000 yards of total offense. I've never seen that before in a college game.
No, not in a college game, but let's see.
When's the last time you saw two teams accumulate 1,000 yards in professional or collegiate athletics?
I think the Eagles Super Bowl was pretty damn close. I think Tom Brady and Nick Foles had like both almost 400 to 500 yards passing each. I think that was like the last time I seen it.
Maybe.
And it's also been I think it's been one labeled probably the best, if not one of the best Super Bowls, if you're not a fan of either team. I don't know. That's probably the last time I seen something that bad. But then again, you could have been the Eagles defense allowing 1,000 yards over the weekend, but we won't talk about that just yet.
Yeah, we don't need.
Yeah, still sore about that. But
okay.
I will say, you got a quarterback in Milroe that can pass the ball when he needs and tries to pass it. I wouldn't call him a great passer or a good passer by any means because he's pretty much a running back. Kurt and Hunter scoffed at me when I said that Jalen Milroe is a 2024 version of Terrell Pryor. He's a more modern day version of it.
So Tim Tebow, more like a Tim Tebow, honestly.
Maybe he's not that big though. I mean, he's not as big as Tebow. Tebow is pretty large. He's more of like a fullback playing quarterback.
How big was Tebow? Was he 6'6"?
Yeah, at least
6'5"?
something like that.
Yeah,
He was
huge.
massive.
He was a big man.
Yeah.
He is a big man, but
Yeah.
And thick. This is not big and thick. Big and thick.
Man, 1,000
That's
yards.
where we're going with that one, Tony. Big and thick. Oh boy.
Big and... Well, sir.
The Holy Spirit has blessed Tim Tebow. We'll say that.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
No, that's crazy.
I just think what does that say about both defense? Or were their offenses just that good? I mean,
I think you got to take it from both sides. I think that you got to recognize the great offense that they played. But I think that my biggest takeaway was how successful Alabama was despite not throwing the ball. Obviously, it kind of played into what Tony said about Milroe, but I just couldn't believe how I don't even know how to word it, how unfrequent their passing game was in that game and how much they were just willing to try to run with Milroe or run with the backs. And they didn't really have to pass to the very end.
Yeah, they must have seen something in the tape with that Georgia line, man, that you could just pound the rock with them, against them. And that's just, like I said, like we just said, not having them big boys up front anymore, getting drafted and leaving college for the big leagues.
are we comfortable still keeping Georgia as a shoo-in for the playoffs?
Yeah, they're not dropping past 12.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
No.
They got some tough games left.
They don't drop. I think that plays into it because if you drop close games, I think you're still ranked high, especially if you're comparing that to a weaker team with a weaker schedule. If they could fall to like, my prediction would probably be 8 to 10 at the very worst, but I think that would cause Georgia to lose at least 3 more games, and I don't know if I see that.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the dropping and the rising of teams. That win was a very good win for Alabama.
It was very good win.
It was.
Very
They
good
almost choked it.
They did.
They wanted to so bad.
How do they? This is what I mean, and this is why I hate college football. This is why I hate the AP poll. This is why I hate the NCAA. I will bash it. It is a corrupt league. It is so fucking stupid. Alabama does not deserve to be one.
I think is Alabama.
No,
Are they won right now?
Yeah.
I
They
haven't
jumped
looked at
them.
that much.
Yep.
Wow.
I thought
Alabama.
they put Texas in there, or Texas was one.
They were
Texas
one.
was one for like
and
a
they
week,
jumped.
and then Georgia, and now it's Bama. Wow.
Bama jumped Texas. They do not deserve that. Texas has been covering.
After that game,
Texas has been covering. Right now, they should have been at 1. They were at 1. And I'm telling you right now, nothing happened. 3 points were scored against them in the last game. They did what they needed to do. They almost won by 50. I mean, meanwhile, Alabama almost chokes a game away that they had a freaking 28-point lead in. I go,
how do you justify them moving up? Maybe stay the same, but definitely not moving up. You scrape by that game. In a game, like you said, you're up 4 touchdowns. I don't care who it is. If you're up to that lead, you got to be able to go into the second half, make your adjustments, and come out and at least win that game by 10 points. But like you said, they damn near lost it.
No, I mean, if I had to do rankings, it'd probably be Texas 1, Ohio State 2, and then maybe Alabama 3. I could get on board with that.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that right now.
Until Ohio State loses or Texas, there's no reason to jump. Why does Alabama have to? I think if Alabama played Ohio State or Texas right now, I think Texas would mollywop Alabama right now because Alabama, all they do is run. They can't throw.
Yeah, right.
So meanwhile, Texas can do whatever they want with the football, whether it's Archie Manning or Quinn Ewers on the team. Honestly, I don't see it's that fucking SEC love that the NCAA jerks off to every fucking year, and I hate it. I hate it. There is absolutely no reason. Yeah, the Georgia win is a very good win. It is a SEC, conference win. It's that's always tough in the conference. They play each other every year. They're going to play each other every year. There's no reason that they should have jumped Texas. There was absolutely no reason, and that had me fuming this weekend.
That's what had you fuming, huh?
Yeah, that's what had me fuming. Especially after the weekend, because that's when they usually come out. I do have a question for you guys. Should James Madison be ranked?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are on a tear. They are on a tear.
All right.
And they're winning, but they're winning convincingly. It's not even like very close games. They're just beating the piss out of everybody.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They are just absolutely. I know it's just Sunbelt, but especially when you think about where James Madison came from, and then being down a level and coming up to Division I, and then still having this success, I think you can at least throw them a 25 spot.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Eric? Have you been paying attention to James Madison?
Not really, as I think most of America hasn't either. I will say this. I'd be very. They're playing team. I mean,
I will be honest.
Who have they beat? I mean, like, who?
Here's the thing.
Who have they beaten?
We look at it now, and it doesn't look like it's that good of a win. But if you think about it, they beat a ranked team, and then they're beating the piss out of everybody. I mean, Florida State was ranked when they beat them.
No, you can't count Florida State.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Everybody.
It's hindsight, though. That's hindsight. But if you look at the time and place, week 1 of expectations, that's a good win at that time.
At that time.
Right. It's a good win at that time. And then they've just been beating the piss out of everyone. It hasn't even really been close in most games. It's almost, and like Hunter said, they come out and they go up to Division I. That's saying something. Sunbelt or no Sunbelt?
I'll say this.
Yep.
Do you see James Madison beating any of the teams in the top 10 right now?
To be honest,
that's not fair.
But
that's not fair.
Hold on.
I didn't say top 10.
On.
I said top 25.
Hold
I
on.
said 25.
You said, do they deserve to be ranked?
Yeah, not
top
not
10. No,
I didn't
Eric,
even.
that's
half the top 25. It's almost half the top 25. You're saying they can't beat.
I didn't even say
so
playoff
let me
team.
say this.
Okay. I'll make it easier. Is there anybody from 15 to 20 that you would put your money on? You would put your money on. You'd
most
put them
likely,
beating
I have to look at it right now. But
so you would put them beating Louisville, or you would put them beating Notre Dame, or you would put them
you don't want to
LSU. Come on, guys.
You don't want to hear my thought process.
Where I am thinking it's like, if we're gonna put them at 25, if we go from like 20 to 25 in the range that they realistically could be, I feel like there's 25, 24, 23 that they're giving a game to. Absolutely, they are this year.
I'm from a Sun Belt school.
They could beat. Honestly, they could beat.
What's the rest of their schedule?
They could beat UNLV or
Okay.
Texas A&M. Those are the bottom two. Those are tied right now for 25. Illinois, Indiana. Yeah, they could beat them too. Indiana's hit and miss. It depends on the time of year that Indiana's really playing. If they're playing good.
Eric, I got their schedule real quick if you want it.
He's reading it off. He's
Okay.
reading it off. Can't who else? Kansas State.
That's not their thing. That's who the ranks at the bottom of the top 25 right now. I think they could beat any of those teams any given weekend.
See, y'all are trying to sell me a big old lie burger.
But how did you ever watch a James Madison? Because I've watched a couple
I
of
have
games.
it, dude. Come
So
on.
you gotta
I
watch
have
them
it well.
play. It's like
I have it
All right,
well.
I'll tell you what.
It's
I'll tell you what.
optics, bro. You could just see it.
I will table my opinion about James Madison, but I will go home tonight and I will watch highlights from their season thus far. But do
that, and then ask yourself the same question you asked us: if they should be a top 25 team.
Okay.
And realistically, because I'm not saying 15 to 20, I'm saying 20 to 25, exactly where I think that they would rank. And look at those teams. And like Tony said, I think they're giving a game to at least 2 or 3 of those right now.
Okay.
Okay, so Hunter, you said 20. You said 20 to 25, and 20 from 20 down. So 20 to 25.
Okay.
Kansas State, Boise State, Louisville, Indiana, Illinois, UNLV, Texas A&M. Boise State had a hard weekend this weekend.
Yeah, they were touchdown favorites at home and scraped by Washington State, who is not very
Washington
good.
State. You know what I'm saying? If Boise State's having a hard time with Washington State, a good James Madison team who's been rocking, that I've seen rocking, I think can do very well.
I'm gonna go off. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna watch some James Madison videos that I've never said that before ever in my life.
Nice. Nice.
I've never said that before in my life, but I'm gonna go home and watch James Madison videos.
Watch him get
Hell yeah.
sloshed. Watch him get sloshed this weekend.
Yeah,
Just
and we're hyping them up, and they're gonna get.
Who do they
They
got?
play like
Who do they
UL
got this
Monroe.
weekend?
It's like UL Monroe. I want to say. I just
Yeah,
like
it's UL
UL
Monroe.
Monroe.
All right, they're gonna win. They might win that game. guys.
That's
It's
the
a
thing. That
Sun
we're hyping
Belt.
them up.
Wait,
We're hyping them up,
guys.
and they're going to lose to UL Monroe in the Sun Belt.
They are a Sun Belt team, and while the Sun Belt is a fine conference to belong to with a lot of tough, scrappy teams in there, I let me go home and watch the video. I'll say this: if they're as good as you're saying, it sounds like they're a top 40 team.
Oh, I could say that.
They're a top 40
They
team.
might even
If that's
be.
what
They
if
might
that-
already be top 40. They just don't put out the rankings that far down.
Yeah.
I mean, if you dug, you probably could find them.
Okay.
Like you'd have to really dig, but they really only put that number by the top 25. So
So are we going to talk about any real teams tonight, or are we just going to talk about James Madison and their?
I hope.
their march
You
to
know
a
what?
national
Next year, I hope James Madison plays Notre Dame.
They're not playing Notre Dame next year. Okay.
That would be beautiful.
And
That would be glorious.
Watch 10 men roll out onto the field at the end of the game and James Madison pull it off.
Oh, you're just
not
being
10
you're just being sore
Oh.
now. You're just being
Yeah.
sore now because I'm making fun of your boys.
Throwing
You're just
them under
being
the
sore
bus.
because I'm making fun of your
Throw-
boys.
just toss them under the bus. Why don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. We'll give Eric his flowers because me and Eric were on the Minnesota train.
Yes.
Having them cover. Michigan still wins like we
Wow.
thought they would.
Yeah, they
but
did.
Minnesota covers. That was a great one. And then Ohio.
Oh, wait, hold on. We're not just going past by that Michigan
Right.
game without
We
even
can't.
talking about
I was gonna
it.
say you gotta let me.
Let me
let
tell-
me say something.
I'm gonna let you talk, Hunter. I'm gonna let you talk.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead, you go
say
first.
this. I'm gonna say this. That officiating crew needs to be in a confessional booth on Sunday talking about how they lied that man was offsides. He was nowhere close to being offsides, and that flag wasn't thrown until after that ball was caught. And you'll never convince me otherwise.
Must have been Chiefs, right?
That was the most Homer thing, call, what have you, that I have ever seen at a college football level. They were not going to let Michigan lose that game.
Eric, to debunk your first thought, as I will say, sitting here as a Michigan fan, I absolutely do not think he was offsides. What I will say is if you watch an onside kick, and this is like just basic football, Minnesota committed 2 other infractions prior to the offsides that they called that would have resulted in Michigan getting the ball back.
Did they call those?
No, they did not.
What
But-
call? And I promise, Hunter, I'm not trying to be mean or
No.
anything.
No,
But
I agree. They made the
what-
offside call, and it
There
was
you
the
go.
wrong call. But I think that after looking at the play, they could have picked a multitude of it, and they just picked the wrong one or
So
the
you're-
worst one.
So you're saying that because those infractions were caused or happened, that basically it's kind of a wash, and then the play just played out like it played, or the call was made that was made, right?
I hate that it was the offside because I do think that the penalties that were, because I watched the play from start to beginning, obviously, as Michigan fans, we kind of had to plead our case a little bit. So watching that back, seeing the 2 other infractions that were made that are clear penalties on that onside kick play, I think that they made us look terribly and giving us a handmade offside call by maybe 6 inches, if you can even say that. And I think that if you looked at the play and you saw the other 2 plays, it would have been a clear as day penalty, and they just decided to call that.
Okay, all right, I can. But he was not offsides.
No, he was not. I'll sit here right now and say he was not offsides.
Ohio State covered, by the way. Just
About
wanna throw
time.
that out there. You know,
About time.
Just saying.
Yeah, I know.
That's all right. I mean, they looked like they weren't there for a minute. They are slow starters. I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah, Michigan State. Yeah, that was. I mean, wasn't really ever in doubt though, was it?
I wouldn't say that.
No. And then what's his name? Howard
Yeah.
or whatever. He gets hurt,
Yep.
and then the kid comes in, does pretty well. So babyface, man, he looked like he was 12 out there
Yeah,
throwing
I
football.
know.
I was like, geez, man, I'm looking old.
I'm pretty sure he's a freshman. That backup that came in.
Well, I know they said that's the guy that's going to take the reins next year. So
Yep.
that's what they kept saying over the commentary. Like, this is the kid that they're looking for. And he looked pretty good out there. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Guys, Ole Miss and the University of Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
That's the other upset. It was, even in the NFL, it was the weekend of upsets. I'll just throw this number out there. 6 upsets on the money line in the NFL in games this week.
Wow.
Somebody lost money.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
you're looking at it.
Well, trust me, you're looking at it too.
So, I mean, damn. Hunter, I love it when you call me Big
Right.
Papa.
I know that's right.
17-20. What? 17-20. It's bad to lose on that field goal.
I was
Just like
surprised Kentucky's defense held Ole Miss's offense like they did, because Ole Miss offense is very impressive out the gate this year. And it was very surprising to see Kentucky be able to, although maybe not too surprising. Kentucky, who you guys sound like you want to put on the level of a James Madison world beater school.
No, ever since Will Levis left, they haven't been the same.
I will say this. I think Kentucky played Georgia tough too. That came down to the end of the game as well. So
who
maybe
Kentucky reminds me of? It's
What's
fucking Purdue. Kentucky's the SEC Purdue. They go into places and they just find a way to beat these great schools when they are such an average football program, and they're near the middle to the bottom half of the SEC. And once a year, it feels like you're finding Kentucky with a win like this, like they had against Ole Miss.
I would agree with that. They are the Purdue of the South.
Now, let me ask you a question, Eric.
Yes.
Notre Dame wins by 7.
They do.
Were you disappointed? Or were you happy with that win? It's a good Louisville team, man.
It was a good Louisville. Louisville is a very good team. They're a very physical team, and their quarterback's been is 25 years old, and he's played for 3 different college schools, and he's been in school for 8 years. That's not a joke either. That's the truth. He's been playing college football for 8 years now. I was happy. I still have major concerns about our offense and where it's headed. Part of me really thinks Riley Leonard has peaked as a quarterback.
I was just about to ask you what your thoughts on, because I have friends that are Notre Dame fans, and I follow a lot of just college football around the country, and a lot of people seem like they are, at the very least, displeased with how Riley Leonard has started out for Notre Dame so far.
I'll say, Hunter, I don't, like I said, I don't ever want to come on here and bash, especially student athletes, and especially ones that I root for a team that I root for, because I support them. And I support Notre Dame, and I want to see them do well, and I want to see Riley Leonard do well. I mean, but like I said, man, I really just believe Riley Leonard. Part of me really thinks that you've seen the peak of Riley Leonard. He's not that great of a passer, and and 90% of your offense is him pulling the ball down and running.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, that's not going to get it done if you make your way into the playoffs. If you do, this is not an endorsement of Notre Dame making the playoffs. But if Notre Dame was to make the playoffs and you roll in with that kind of an offense where 90% of your plays are basically the quarterback has to make the play happen, I really don't know if that's a winning recipe for Notre Dame. But I was very happy with the win. I thought it proved that Notre Dame still has the desire to be a good school, especially with the school that they had struggled with in the last few years. And at the end of the day, you outmuscled a team that wanted to come in and beat you. And it was a huge win. Marcus Freeman, I think that was his 9th win against ranked teams. So far in his career. So it was a great win, but there's still I still have a lot of questions about who exactly this team is.
Notre Dame usually got some really good players that come in and out of the school. They really never have a quarterback, though, which is kind of weird. Because a lot of teams can find, especially the big dog, can find a quarterback that at least has some kind of success in college football. And I think Notre Dame just never has a standout quarterback. And it's weird.
I agree with that, and I mean, there's probably a problem when people are still talking about Brady Quinn and wanting to have a quarterback like Brady Quinn, and it's been 20 years since he played at Notre Dame almost. So
I don't know. I feel like the best quarterback since him that's come out is a kid from Toledo, from Central Catholic, that played with him for a little bit.
Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah,
he was pretty decent. I don't know that him and Kelly really got along. I don't know, and I'm not. That's just whispers and innuendos that I've heard.
right.
So I'm not saying that's a fact or not, but he was pretty good. Ian Book was all right. Jimmy Clausen, you know, but you're right, and that's why I was against Riley Leonard coming to Notre Dame. That's a personal opinion because I feel like you have if you have Steve Carr, or I'm sorry, not Steve Carr, but Steve Angeli, and you've got Minchie and you've got Carr on the sidelines, and that's supposed to be your future. Why are you just not playing them right now? And if Riley was going to struggle this much, because you had to have some indication of it in camp, you had to have some feeling in camp that, wow, maybe he's not as good as we thought he was passing the ball. I think immediately, for the sake of the team, you should be starting one of those freshman or sophomore quarterbacks and just let him grow. Let him grow.
With the transfer portal, it should be easier now to find something.
I know.
Somewhere. That's what's weird about it. Maybe in a year or two they'll get it together.
No, Carr is the future.
Uh-huh.
They're the quarterback. That's your quarterback of the future. So, and I fully expect him to be your starter next year. So,
DJ Carr looked amazing. I went and watched him play in Michigan Saline before they went to the playoffs.
Kid.
And actually got to meet Lloyd Carr, who is his grandfather.
Yeah.
So that was
any relations
really cool.
to the other Carrs, David and Derek?
Lloyd Carr, yeah.
No, I'm asking. I don't know.
He's his grandson, isn't that right?
Well, what about David and Derek? That's what I'm asking. Are related to them?
I don't think there's any relation because
all
I've ever heard about is Lloyd and CJ.
See, I don't even know Lloyd.
That's trust me. He got offers from Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. That kid he's your guy.
Well,
he's your guy.
I think Riley Leonard was just a placement holder for this year and just try to take that team that has some players, but they know that CJ isn't ready to play Division I football just yet. He was your placeholder, and then I think that it's like you said, he had some really good offers. I was completely shocked, obviously, with the family connection. It made sense, but I was shocked that he didn't go to Michigan. But that was a huge game for Notre Dame, pulling him away from some really elite programs outside of Michigan, and he should absolutely be there starting next year.
Yep.
And staying on Notre Dame, they get a bye week this week.
They do.
So you get a little bit time to relax and recuperate and recover and hopefully get the team back on track.
Don't have to stress out this week.
Michigan gets a bye as well. So nothing to worry about?
No, sir. Washington 7:30.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I scrolled down. Yeah. I could have swore. Okay, fine then, sir. Go ahead and talk about that because I swear to God, I was looking at the lines and I'm like, I could not find the Michigan line.
Well, that might be because the line has absolutely flipped on its head. It started as a Michigan, I believe, a -3 favorite, and it's now went all the way to a Washington minus a couple point favorite at least.
Wow.
Especially with Michigan. Well, this is Michigan's first road game, and I think the entire country, along with the Michigan fan base at this point, knows that they can't really trust their quarterback farther than we could throw him, or he could throw it, because he doesn't really throw it too far. At this point, I think that it's their first road game. Washington's got a very foul taste in their mouth, obviously playing Michigan in the national championship game last year and losing that game. I think that they're going to want some revenge, and I wouldn't be surprised if Washington can go at home under the lights and beat Michigan with this offense. I have no faith in Alex Orji right now to confidently move the ball down, and that's what we saw against Minnesota. We saw a great first half, and then an anemic, awful, garbage, dreadful offense in the second half, and you almost throw the game away because of it. If it's not for your spectacular defense, you do throw the game away.
And it's that one-dimensional thing we talked about with that team. You guys, it's almost like It's like you guys don't have the quarterback with the arm, and you don't have the offensive line that Alabama does. So it's like you're a poor man's Goodwill Alabama team. You can't really throw it, even when you need to.
Yep.
And really, if that run game is beatable, the run game is still beatable when it comes to Michigan, in my opinion. So, yeah,
Because the offensive line isn't as good, and that's where it starts. That's where you get the push, creates the holes. I think Mullings is a great back. He started to come out and shine in that running back one spot, which I think he will officially take. Donovan Edwards just has looked a little. He's lost his speed. He kind of put on muscle, and I thought that it would kind of help him run harder, but it just hasn't. He doesn't find the holes like he used to, and he just seems like he gets eaten up. And Mullings has completely outshined him.
I think I can see why the line moved, because I probably would have saw that line and took the plus points too with Washington. And now, how much you say it's down to? A minus what now, Hunter?
I want to say when I saw it go from like -3, I can look right here. Give me 2 seconds.
No, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And I was going to say, you guys describing Michigan sounds a lot like Notre Dame.
I would even say Riley can throw it a little bit though. 2.5.
2.5 right now.
I probably would still take that. A field goal, they would have to cover. I mean, I could see Washington covering that if they need to. Sorry, Hunter. I missed the ball on that one. So in place of the Notre Dame game, there's Miami of Ohio going to Toledo. Toledo's a 6.5 point favorite.
Toledo's got that.
Yeah, they've been on a tear. They've covered the last few weeks. I think they're riding high. So yeah, I'm taking Toledo -6.5. What do you guys think? You guys good on that one?
I would take that.
I don't hate it. I think Miami's been very good in the past, but obviously their 1-3 record has shown otherwise this season, while Toledo has continued to be at least consistent in the MAC. 3-1 right now. Big wins over Mississippi State, and then I believe the only loss was Western Kentucky.
Okay.
So I'm not arguing with that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that image of Toledo and Mississippi State burned in my brain. It's
don't
like
live
I gotta
on
go
it,
with
though.
I know, but I gotta go with Toledo in this one.
I had to do a triple take on that, man. I couldn't believe my eyes. I had to like wash out my eyes. I was like, "Is that say Mississippi State from the SEC?"
Because Mississippi State actually covered last game, and I took the other team. So
okay.
No, it was Texas. Yeah, no, it was Texas. To get that Texas game I took, it was Mississippi State and Texas, and Mississippi State backdoor cover.
You think Toledo could beat JMU?
It would be an ESPN classic.
ESPN classic. ESPN. That's funny.
I'd watch it too. I would watch the whole thing. I'm really excited about watching my JMU videos today.
Come
I'm
on,
really excited about this.
Let's go.
Speaking of ESPN classics, we have a slobber knocker, as Eric would say. Iowa is going to Ohio State. Ohio State is a 19.5 point favorite. I'm going to take the cover on that because it's under 20 points. Ohio State can score some points. Hunter said it last week. Their defense is not as good as Michigan defense, but their offense is almost as lethargic as Michigan's offense is. So I don't see Iowa being able to keep up with the points that Ohio State can score. So I'm taking Ohio State with the 19.5 points. What you guys think on that?
Not so fast.
Not so fast. Meep, meep. Roadrunner.
I was thinking more Lee Corso, but so Iowa, Ohio State traditionally has always been a physical game. It's always been a tough game for both teams to play. Iowa has one loss. That was in a 1 point defeat to a ranked Iowa State team. They 21 points is the most points that Iowa has given up this season in any game. They are coming off a bye week. Now the problem is Ohio State has scored 50+ points in 2 games and 35 points, at least 35 points in all their games. So I think Ohio State probably has too many weapons. The line, 20 point favorites. for Big Ten rivals like this, and Iowa does have somewhat of a defense.
Yeah.
And you're still really not sure about Will Howard and what he really is.
Put the baby face in, man. Put him in now.
I would take Iowa in the points.
I think I would be okay with that if it was in Iowa, but it's at the Shoe.
Yeah, I understand it's at the Shoe, but like I said, Iowa plays Ohio State tough historically.
I think, and I'm going to be honest too, I think the last couple years, this game has been in Iowa a lot over the years. So, and that's why, like, a few times, if you look at the stats that they played, I think that kind of affects it. Again, I don't fault anybody also for taking Iowa because obviously historically they always got a good defense. And yeah, Will Howard is a little on the fence. But Smith is ridiculous, man. Smith, he's got a couple of those catches that are just nasty right now. And the quarterback, man, just got to get it together. I don't know if it's nerves or what the hell. If he's just that just might be him. That just could be him. So we'll find out this weekend. Hunter, what do you think about this? We know that I don't know. You took Ohio State with the points last week, so
yeah, I run with Ohio State against a terrible Michigan State defense, and I'm actually on the side of Eric. I think that this game has been historically close. I will give you it has been in Iowa, which obviously favors them, home atmosphere, all that home crowd. In the Shoe, though, I think that a lot of people are going to want to ride this terrible Iowa offense and just automatically lay the points with Ohio in their offense. But I think the Iowa defense could at least keep it close for long enough to cover the spread of 19, 20 points. So I will be on Iowa this week.
All right. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you. So I got a couple of random games. I don't know if you guys got any random games, but I am going with James Madison minus 16.5 against UL Monroe.
Beautiful.
That's going to be one of them. And then I'm going to go back to the MAC. It's a MAC attack. Not the K-MAC attack, but a MAC attack. The BGSU and Akron game. Akron, I'm taking Akron on the money line, plus 145.
Over BG. Hot BG.
Yeah, hot. BG's hot, but they got to cool down sometime. You know, you got to cool the iron eventually. And Akron has a pretty good defense. So I think they can stop BG, so we'll see. What did I take any of your games, man?
No.
You don't have to comment on these. I mean, you're more than welcome to comment on them.
I'm good. I'm good.
Because they're just the random picks?
I'm listening, homie. I'm listening to you, okay? I'm listening to you.
You're mad because I didn't take Notre Dame against the bye. Who's favored, by the way?
I'm taking the bye for sure. What?
You got some games this weekend for college?
Yeah, I do. I got my marquee game of the weekend, and unfortunately, there's not too many of them this weekend. But I'm really interested in that Missouri Texas A&M game.
Okay.
Now that's at Texas A&M. They're ranked 25th. Missouri's ranked 9th. Missouri's 4-0. Texas A&M is 4-1. Now Missouri does have to go to Texas A&M, and that's a pretty hard place for some teams to play. Not all, but some teams find it difficult to play there. And I was kind of looking at just kind of some notes from the game. Missouri's got Nate Noel, who ran for 199 yards rushing last week. You've got Texas A&M. They're just coming out of beating Arkansas. They did cost me my parlay because they only won by I think it was 3 instead of the 5.
Oh, you got brave and did the points the spread parlay.
I did, and it cost me. How about that? Notre Dame. The first time I bet on Notre Dame, they cover the spread, but neither Georgia nor Texas A&M were able to do it. So it's kind of crazy, but the Tigers have won 5 out of the last 8 in these meetings. And, I really find it hard to believe that Missouri can go into Texas A&M and keep their number 9 ranking. And I'm going to pick Texas A&M.
We'll see. Didn't Notre Dame go into Texas A&M?
Notre Dame did go into Texas A&M, and they sure did. Like I said, some teams find it hard to play there, but not everyone finds it hard to play there.
All right.
There are some teams that can march right in there, and they push this Texas A&M around, and they plant their flag on the field and party right there in their locker rooms. Some teams are able to do that, others aren't, and I don't think Missouri is one of those teams.
All right. Nice, man. Good pick. Good pick.
Thank you.
Hunter, do you got any random games for this week?
Absolutely. I got two. First game I will take you to is a marquee Big Ten matchup from Lincoln, Nebraska, as Nebraska takes on Rutgers. Rutgers 4-0, Nebraska 4-1. Nebraska line -6.5 from home. I think they can cover that. Hand Rutgers their first loss. Get some momentum going. And then the second game is going to be Clemson taking on Florida State. Night game. Florida State is without their top quarterback, if you can call him that at this point, DJU, who will miss this game with a hand injury. And then Roydell Williams, their running back, will also miss this game, just undisclosed. So it seems like they're just having some problems there for the Seminoles. Clemson has they've looked, I would say good. I won't say anything worse than good. But with the 14-point line and these guys being out, I usually don't like playing the injury when it comes to my prediction, but I can't see a way where Florida keeps this even close. So I'll take Clemson -14 for my second pick.
Makes sense. Plus, Florida State sucks.
Florida State's like with DJU and Roydell Williams, they sucked. So
yeah, they're gonna extra suck. They're gonna suck hardcore.
At least that's what I kind of think. But then I also watch them come in with backups and play Clemson to a field goal game.
They will watch it. Yeah. The backup goalie theory. Speaking of,
exactly, that's what I mean.
It's time for Hunter's Hockey Hits on the Shuckle Up Podcast, brought to you by Hunter Keiser.
All right, it's time to light the lamp. We have a little bit of hockey action, yo. So, Hunter, take it to the people.
Let's go. Got to get it started out. Preseason hockey. I think the NHL regular season started about a week away, but I just got to highlight this one game, these two players, and just talk about it. Rivalry game in the preseason, mind you. Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs. Patrick Laine, star for the Montreal Canadiens, takes an awful, dirty, low hit to the knee by, I think his name was something Cure or something. It was something Canadian, but this downright awful person. I have nothing. I can't believe you would do that. I don't know. It seemed unintentional, but just the way he hit him, it was bad. And why are you going for hits like that in one of the first games of the preseason? And now to make matters worse for that, it has been announced that Patrick Laine will miss the first 2 to 3 months of the season as he recovers from this injury. And I just think from a meaningless preseason game, just downright disgusting, awful. Prayers to Patrick Laine, and throw away that Cure dude and throw him in the trash.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of trash, I haven't seen anything, Hunter, but you pay attention to hockey and off-season hockey more than I do. Have you seen anything about the junior team yet? This drama that they were in from the Junior Olympics?
A little bit. Probably not a whole lot, but I definitely think I've heard that mentioned.
Okay,
I just wasn't on it more.
Well, no, I haven't seen if they're going to prosecute or if the players that have been picked up are out of that.
Yeah, I know. Yep, I know exactly. I know what you're talking about now. And I honestly, unless something's come out relatively recently, I haven't seen anything new. But I do know exactly what you're. I know what you're talking about now. But I feel like they're gonna push it under the rug. I feel like they're gonna.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like
I knew that's what you're gonna say. They're gonna just try to sweep it away.
So I know you probably don't know what we're talking about, but unless you do, because I'm a Flyers fan when it comes to hockey.
I'm a Rangers fan.
Yeah. Okay. So did you hear the Flyers got a pretty good goalie in Carter Hart?
Yep.
Did you hear the drama with Carter Hart and some other players in the NHL?
I'm hearing it right now.
Yeah. So the U.S. team, junior team, back in 2020 or 2021, I don't know exactly what the date was, are accused of sexual assaulting a woman.
The whole team?
Yeah.
Five of them.
Yeah,
one
five.
girl.
Yeah.
The whole team?
Yeah, five of the players on that team and one girl. And yeah, so
Brutal.
they were pulled
Just-
mid-season last year. So I was just curious because I haven't heard anything about it since it happened. It was a
I
big
could be
thing.
wrong, Tony, but I almost, just because we were talking about sweeping it under the rug, I honestly think that they came to some type of settlement. Now that I think about it, I think they ended up just coming to a settlement with that lady, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess repercussions for the players is something that I'm looking for, and I haven't heard anything yet. And I think that's kind of more or less what I'm thinking, like along the lines, like, God forbid, like they get to be in the NHL with no repercussions. So,
Right.
I don't want to hear that. We talked about it, 6 upsets, and we felt the repercussions of those in the NFL.
We did.
Aaron Rodgers is old, man. That's a bad one. You get spanked. I know, man. That's just
He looked bad.
Yeah, no, that's no bueno. The Bengals. Let's talk about this because we had a little bet, and you told me it's going to be a nice cushy ride for Joe Burrow and the Bengals. 20-point lead in the fourth quarter, and it was barely that. They ended up covering the spread. Winning by 10, 9.5. They covered the spread, although barely, just barely. But over in points, can you give Dalton and the Panthers some respect now?
No,
not even a little bit.
No,
Hunter.
What? Why am I?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. I mean,
Why?
Could it be a one-hit wonder backup goalie situation? Obviously, the only time will tell with that. But I like the way that Andy Dalton was able to come in off the couch and go out there and compete.
So, Eric, what is your beef with? I think he's got a problem with Andy Dalton. Maybe he was supposed to be drafted by the Bears.
What's wrong with Red Rifle, Eric? Come on,
Andy Dalton,
what's wrong with Red
Dalton
Rifle?
couldn't start for JMU right now. Okay, that's my problem with it.
He just started for Carolina. What do you mean? That's not true.
I just don't know where all this love for Andy Dalton is coming from.
It's not love for Andy Dalton.
It's love for Andy Dalton. You despise Brock Purdy, but you're putting Andy Dalton up on this pedestal that's all the way up here. And it's like, I don't get it. I do not get it. Oh my goodness.
Hey, listen, man.
Oh my goodness.
Man, 25 for 40, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
25 for 40 and what?
And you know what? It's woken up, and I picked this man up. We maybe should talk about this because maybe you should finally bring him up in the fantasy segment.
Who am I bringing up now?
Chubba Hubbard, man. 18 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown.
Say like Rex Grossman or something.
DeAndre Johnson has woken up, 7 receptions, 83 yards, 1 touchdown. I'm just saying, with an actual quarterback that can throw it. Listen, Bryce Young is not a quarterback. Never was, never. I never said, wow, what a great pick by the Carolina Panthers. Never once said that.
No
Everybody, Hunter, Kurt can vouch for this. I hated the Bryce Young pick. I hated the fact he was picked over C.J. Stroud. If C.J. Stroud would have been picked over Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers would be a playoff team. And I'm just saying, like that's what C.J. Stroud would have did. As soon as Bryce Young was picked, I said that's stupid. That's dumb. I didn't understand it coming out of college. Didn't get it. But they have a capable, I'm not saying a complete or elite quarterback, but a capable quarterback in Andy Dalton now. And if you can't tell me that Andy Dalton's not capable, he's shown you that he's at least capable. I'm not saying go pick him up in fantasy and he's going to score you 40 points a game. Jesus. What, man? What? Say it. Say it with your chest.
Y'all go on. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all go on.
It's all right. You're a field goal.
Because one you're going to see real soon Andy Dalton train that you guys are just chugging on down the track on. It's going to derail. It's going to derail. It's going to dump toxic sewage over a town. FEMA's going to have to be called. It's just not sustainable.
Listen, I'm on the Red Rifle Express.
Right.
I just think here's the thing.
Should I go home and watch videos of Andy Dalton too? Is that what I have to do?
Eric, you might need to. You might need to at this point. You're not giving my guy enough credit. You might need to go home and watch you some Andy Dalton.
And I don't
After damn you though.
I don't hate on Brock Purdy for his talent.
You're putting Andy Dalton up here and like Brock Purdy down here. And
Expectations and reality.
Not even a comparison.
If they listen,
It's not even a comparison.
Brock Purdy and Andy Dalton, if they were in the octagon, the Red Rifle's winning every time. I'm just saying.
That's funny. That's funny. Look at Tony putting money on Andy Dalton to win the
That's
UFC fight
age
against
and
Brock
experience.
Purdy.
The redheads are crazy, bro.
Hey, man, comeback player of the year, Andy Dalton. Book it.
Joe Flacco, didn't he win it last year?
Book it. Comeback player of the year. Book it. He's gonna lead Carolina to the playoffs. Book it. Comeback player of the year.
Okay.
You guys are just haters. You're absolute haters. What caught your guys' eye this weekend? Anything in particular? Like that you were like, wow.
Wow was probably
Andy Dalton.
wow.
Of course.
Well, the Bears won. That was kind of a wow moment.
That was a wild moment.
That was kind of a wild moment. Man, I gotta tell you, the Jets getting beat the way they got beat, because it kind of seemed like they were about to turn a corner. Like it really seemed like they were starting to get it all together, and then, man, the wheels fell off, and the Aaron Rodgers cane broke, and it just, man. I gotta be honest with you, I think the Jets are going to be looking for a quarterback with their first pick next year.
Other times caught up to him.
But see, that is completely on the New York Jets. That's completely on the New York Jets. Everyone told the Jets to not essentially trade for Aaron Rodgers. They traded away they traded away at least a second, if I remember correctly. And I think they gave up another pick as well. Why would you do that for a 40-year-old quarterback? That makes no sense. And then he doesn't play last year because he got hurt. Big surprise. And then he's coming back this year. You're talking about a 40-year-old quarterback who missed an entire year, and now I'm pretty sure he missed camp to go on one of his little Oskiasa trips.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't think he left that trip. I think he's still on that trip.
He's still on the ayahuasca trip in the darkness retreat. His visit's gone. He's on the darkness retreat. He can't see anything.
I really want to know who in the Jets organization okayed this. I want to know why they okayed this. And I understand they were in win now mode, and it's very appetizing to see Aaron Rodgers sitting there, and he wants to come to your franchise. But, man, somebody's getting fired over this one.
I was going to say,
it has to. Someone's got to get fired over this.
My thing is, that's where I'm kind of going is, look at who they had before, and look at their options in the current time compared to getting Aaron Rodgers, who wanted to come to you.
Okay, that fair point. But still, man, I just making that kind of a move for a 38-year-old quarterback, and you know what kind of league we're in.
You know what they wanted to do, what they were thinking, and what they saw.
What they were going to trade Aaron Rodgers?
No, they saw what happened with Tom Brady. They said, "Oh, it doesn't matter if you're 40 years old and
absolutely,
you can still come." I'm dead serious.
They tried to compare the GOAT to not the GOAT.
Because here's the thing: if you look at, and I'll say this, and I've always said this, if you look at Aaron Rodgers in the regular season, he's one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the regular season.
Absolutely.
Even maybe better than Tom Brady in some cases.
Absolutely.
In the playoffs, he just
every year.
With great teams, great defenses, good offenses, I think never could get over the hump.
I think he won the one Super Bowl that he has because he had a talented team around him, and the defense. The Charles Woodson was on that defense. You know what I'm saying? So it was pretty damn AJ
Hawk.
Not AJ. Matthews.
Clay Matthews.
Yeah, AJ Hawk and Clay Matthews. I don't know if Hawk was on there or not.
I think he was.
I don't know if I don't know. I don't remember. It was so far back.
He
would have 14 years ago.
Clay Matthews and AJ Hawk played together for a majority of their career, I believe.
Did they? Okay. So you're talking two great linebackers, a great Hall of Fame corner safety that they moved him to.
Yeah.
You know, And then Aaron Rodgers. You still had Greg Jennings, who was an immaculate receiver. A couple. I think they had. I don't know who the running back. I'm pretty sure that was it Lacey as a running back then. Not quite sure, but either way, a good team around them.
Yeah,
I don't think you can write off the Jets. You really should never. I don't think you should ever completely write off Aaron Rodgers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But when I saw that last Sunday, and then you look at, he really hasn't looked that great all year, and the offense really hasn't looked that great, and it's sort of like, are we starting to kind of figure out who the Jets are, or do they got one? That's the real question as we kind of head into the, I guess it'd be the second part of the season almost now.
I mean, I hate to say it too, man, and don't take this personal, but the Jets are the East Coast Bears. They really can't ever find a quarterback. Good defenses over the years. You know what I'm saying? But they really got nobody to ever really throw the ball.
Yeah.
You know what your problem is? You like teams who can't throw the ball.
I know, especially this year. Yeah. Maybe I should start liking JMU.
I mean, you might as well. You might as well get with the Dukes.
Stupid, doesn't it?
You might as well get with the Dukes.
Stupid.
Come on, Eric. You might as well. You might as well get with the Dukes.
It sounds stupid, doesn't it? When you say it out loud.
No, absolutely, absolutely, it does not.
All right, okay.
JMU is my favorite college team.
I'm sure they are. Okay, there you go. They're mine too. Watched them since I was a little kid.
Moving on to one of the things that I can't believe in. I can't believe that the Eagles let up 250 yards of offense and 21 points to Baker Mayfield, and their offensive stats read 0 in passing and -3 in rushing. That was a stat line. At one point. But yeah, that was god awful. That's mine. Hunter, what was your wow of the weekend?
So I guess I kind of had a couple. Eric took the one because the Jets. Honestly, that was just pitiful. 9 points and a 9-12 loss over the Broncos, where Bo Nix finally throws his first touchdown pass 4 weeks into the season. Yikes. Awful. Minnesota having that massive lead and then giving it up to Green Bay, letting them come back in the game was pretty crazy to me.
You think the Jets are mad about giving up Sam Darnold yet?
No. Because he didn't produce there.
Is it because he's a redhead? What is it with you? What is it with you and redheads, man? You don't like Andy Dalton? You don't like Sam Darnold?
He doesn't like redheads. He doesn't like redheads. What do you got against redheads?
Let's check. Is James Madison's quarterback? Does he got red hair? Because that might be the
God.
Oh my God.
He really might.
Oh my God.
Continue, Hunter. Continue.
Absolutely.
James Madison.
So I will say the Saints lose in typical Saints fashion. Game-winning field goal. They give up a PI call to put the Falcons in position, and they lose a game that they absolutely should have won. Typical. The Commanders have absolutely shocked me. I have been really high on Jane Daniels since he got drafted. I even took him pretty early in my fantasy football league this year, and he's done pretty well for me thus far. I also had Rodgers as my backup, and he's just set the pine the whole year. Probably end up dropping his ass pretty soon. But Jane Daniels, 42 points in a 42-14 win over what I thought would have been an up-and-coming Cardinals team. So that definitely shocked me. And then finally, just Harbaugh and the Chargers keeping that Chiefs offense at bay and keeping that to a 17-10 game where they almost won.
Stupid shit, too. I'm so fucking tired of the Chiefs. And we get to fucking watch them on Sunday or Monday night again. Like, stop
it. It's Monday night.
It's Monday night. Yeah, it's Monday night. And it's at Arrowhead, by the way. So you know they ain't got no chance.
That's not going to be good.
Is it noticeable yet? Like, is it really noticeable
yet
with the referee?
It's noticeable.
Go, bro.
I think I'm the best to answer this because I'm a casual NFL fan. I have no bias. This is absolutely 110% noticeable, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing? This is awful.
Chargers are beating them down for like 3 quarters of football, and then the refs go, time to clock in.
Dude, check the
That'll
Chiefs
be enough.
Score. Check the Chiefs score from this year. I was looking at this today.